It's like sweet and sour Skittles with icing, strawberries and cream, all sandwiched between warm baked sponge. Because this little bottle here is birthday cake. It might not have a label, but this smell cannot be mistaken. And wow, do I really want cake right now? This is one of 2 oils that I'm going to be reviewing today from Craftivator. They mainly make scented products for candles, so the oils are incredibly intense. For a diffuser, you may only need a couple of drops to make the whole room smell of that really sweet and indulgent birthday cake. But I think it works really well in a diffuser. Now, the other scent that I'm going to be looking at is cookies and cream. Now, this one, I've got to tell you, is actually even sweeter, which I didn't think was possible, but I can tell you now that the sweetness is so strong that it almost turns slightly bitter. Now, the best way to think about that is like baking powder or soda. So it's not a bad scent, it's just so interesting and new to me. In fact, just smelling it from the bottle, I can feel my eyes open up as if I've just sniffed pure alcohol. It's quite something. I do know from experience that this scent is very different when diffused, so this is going to be a pretty interesting comparison. I know it's almost nothing like what you get from the bottle. Some weeks ago, I reviewed these Sweet Dreams aromatherapy oils, and in the video, I mentioned how I have a friend who likes very sweet scents to go to sleep to, and I think she might have a point because sweet aromas do make you feel very happy and this can relax you. But for me, I personally feel things like lavender and very lemon-scented aromas are the things that make me fall asleep. So I did try this oil, but I don't think it had quite the same effect on me. But it is a very personal thing. This cookies and cream is quite an interesting scent. It's not what I would have expected. It's almost palpable in taste, and there's a reason I say that because taste is around about 70% scent. So if you can smell something, you have a pretty good idea of how it would taste. And to me, this is almost like chocolate powder mixed with something like amaretti or di serrano. It's intense with its almondy sort of smell with that alcoholic overtone. You can almost taste it on the back of your tongue. It's kind of pleasant, but I have a feeling it might be a little better when it's diffused. I thought I'd put on the diffuser a little earlier in the day so that when I walk into the room I can be presented with a really sweet and sugary scent. So I'm going to start first with this unmarked bottle. It wasn't originally unmarked, I should say, the label fell off. But this one is Birthday Cake by Craftivator. So I'm going to put a couple of drops of this in. And that's all you really do need, is a couple of drops. But just to recap, I'm just taking the lid off, I can smell straight away. It's incredibly sweet and artificial, but almost like glycerine, I think. Is it glycerine? That probably liken that too. So if you're making something like a birthday cake, then you'd probably think of things like icing sugar and, well, or fondant, and you'd be thinking of things like strawberries and vanilla. All of those scents are available from just out the bottle. And it is pleasant, but I think it's probably going to be a little different in the diffuser. So let's try it out. Wow, that is incredibly sweet and really quite a nice scent because it reminds me exactly of walking into a sweet shop or a candy shop where you have that overwhelming scent of bonbons like the strawberry and vanilla bonbons. Actually, someone asked me before what a bonbon actually is. So if you're not familiar with these, they're almost like toffee with sugar coated around the outside, like icing sugar. And they usually taste of strawberry or vanilla. One of my favourites, I would say. And that is the scent, bonbons. It's strange. It smelt more of birthday cake, I think, inside the oil, inside the little bottle. But it's definitely not a bad scent. It's just kind of odd how those underlying notes that I previously picked up on have almost been overwhelmed by this sugary strawberry scent, and I would still say you'd smell ice and sugar or some other generic sweetness in the background, but apart from that, it's just an incredibly sweet scent, and I feel bad that I have almost no other way to describe this, because it really is just like a specific sweet that you get in England, and I can't shake that thought. I suppose you may still liken it to birthday cake, but the scent inside the bottle was more reminiscent of those more, I guess, dynamic scents of strawberry and cream with that sort of vanilla note. I wouldn't say that's not still there, but it's just completely overpowered with this artificial strawberry bonbon scent, and I love it. I really like this scent. It is one I'm probably going to put on around the home because it reminds me of being a kid. And again, I'm not sure if this is an English thing, but we would normally walk into sweet shops and say, oh, I want 100 grams of strawberry bonbons, and I don't know, you might want some Parma violets or whatever other sweets that they have available at the time, and they'd all just measure them up and you get them in this little pick and mix bag, and it was just the best. And that's what this smells of. It's a sweet shop, and yeah, I'm going to be using this oil more often. I think it's really nice. I'm now going to move over to the cookies and cream scent, and from experience, this one really is quite different when diffused. I can't remember exactly what it was like, but I think it'd be quite interesting to try this one out. So, from the bottle, yeah, again, it's that slightly bitter note because it's so sweet. It's incredibly overpowering, that sweetness. I don't think there's something I can compare it to, really. I've not come across that before. Perhaps it's a little bit like mixing cinnamon with sugar. I came up with another analogy of it being like chocolate powder in something like amaretto or amaretti. Yeah, I think I could describe it as that again. It's definitely like that. Okay. Let's make this comparison. So, again, 2-3 drops, yes. Oh wow, yeah, that's really quite different. It's quite hard to describe actually, because it almost smells slightly smoky. Actually, it almost reminds me of going to a smoking area at a bar. you know, where you've got that sort of somewhat alcoholic sweet scent of the cocktails, someone smoking across the room. Yep, that's not what I would have expected. It's, again, quite a nice scent, but it's not what I expected at all. It's, would I say it's like cookies and cream? Not really, no. It's it is a nice scent, but it's perhaps, again, that's slightly, perhaps you could say, overwhelming sweetness, but it's quite different from the bottle. I think those chocolate notes that I mentioned before, that sort of high cocoa content of chocolate, that is still there. Perhaps a little bit of that amaretti as well. But yeah, it's a lot more balanced as a scent now. So those previous things that I picked up on, that sort of overwhelming sweetness to the point that it almost smells like baking powder or soda, that's still there in the background, but it's not overwhelming anymore. So I could perhaps imagine if you've just baked a fresh tray of cookies, it is like that, but there are other scents going on. So it's perhaps if you had that in a bar setting. I know that's probably not what they were going for, but there is a strangely smoky scent in the background with that sweet alcohol. Again, I think of things like cocktails or those sort of, what do you call those syrups that you add to alcohol? Grenadine syrups? Yeah, that's it. This is like grenadine syrup. It doesn't have that quite sickly sweet scent as per the birthday cake. So maybe this one's slightly more preferential, but I probably wouldn't say it's cookies and cream. It's a bar. It's a bar setting. Probably wouldn't sell as well if I said it's a smoky bar, but that's what it reminds me of. Yeah, smoky and sweet. I think that's how I'm going to sum this up. I feel like these oils are very similar to their name. They are a treat that you can have. They're sweet and calorific. They're quite Moorish, but because they are a treat, they're something that if you have it too often, you would somewhat spoil the tradition, if you wish to call it that. So these are scents that I like to use every now and again. I think if you were to have them quite often, they'd become sickly to the point that you probably would find them almost nauseating because they are so intense. They can really lighten the mood. And that's what these are. It's just a little pick-me-up. Because all you need is a couple of drops and you've got a room filled with this sweet and quite joyful scent. They are designed for candles, I'm sure, which is the reason why these bottles still look almost full. They're probably going to last a long time. Some years ago I went for this phase of buying all these ultra sweet artificial scents because in the end I'm a little bit like a kid in a candy shop. Well, literally, because things like bubblegum, Parma violets, jelly beans, they're all scents I really, really like. In fact, I might put some of that bubblegum scent on now. It's got me wondering, would people like me to review some of these really artificial sweet scents, or would you like me to stick to more traditional ones? Either way, thank you for watching another Scent Saturday, and I'll be sure to see you later. Goodbye.